Are you one of those musicians with more ideas than you can handle but few songs to show for it? Do you start projects without any idea of how to finish them? Let's talk about that. Yes, let's talk, because today I want to share some thoughts on how to connect musical ideas and how to get a full song out of ideas that you already have so that finishing a song doesn't have to feel so daunting. Hopefully this video can give you some tools so that by the end of it, you have some inspiration for how to connect your favorite ideas and turn them into finished songs. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of all that, let's start with something even easier. A cheat code, the dead stop. Hi, my name is not important. Kind of like what just happened, but for music. My name's Philip, by the way, and I make videos about this kind of stuff. Music and songwriting. So let me demonstrate the dead stop to give you an idea of what I have in mind, and why don't we take what you just heard and expand on it a bit. And because summer is really starting to take hold of this land, I'm gonna cut to winter to cool off a bit. It's hot. Now, you may say I'm a dreamer. No, just kidding. You may say I have primitive taste, but I've always loved the dead stop. Just that moment to breathe before things go a bit bonkers. In my view, that tiny moment of anticipation can be really cathartic. And the goal is to give enough of a reset for the ears that, depending on the execution, you have quite a bit of freedom and flexibility to go completely different places after the stop. For example, let's try this again. I will write a completely different intro this time with totally different chords altogether. It still works. I just love the dead stop. But there is one little secret I must confess to as well. I purposefully wrote this to end on an A minor chord, because the heavier part is in D, and A is the fifth of D. Actually, let me show you where I'm going with this. So, what does being the fifth mean, and why is that important? Well, let's take a look at the D minor scale, since that's where we went for the heavier stuff. D, E, F, G, A, B flat, and C. These are the notes of D minor. The fifth note, A, is also the root note of the fifth chord in the key, A minor in this case. And the fifth chord in a key is usually a pretty good way to get us back to our tonic chord, the D minor in this case. Now, it's quite common to turn the fifth chord of a minor key into a major chord for this very reason. The pull to the tonic becomes even stronger that way thanks to the leading tone. This is because if we change our A minor chord to an A major chord, we also change our C to a C sharp, which is only one half step away from the D note. This way we get an even more satisfying resolution. Allegedly, because I don't always hear things that way, but maybe that's just me. The point is that moving in fifths is a great way to get to where you want to be, and it's a neat little trick to have if you want to connect parts or write parts that connect to other parts. For example, let's say I've written a little odd nightmare sounding section and I just can't figure out what to do with it, and it goes a little something like this. Now, I know it begins in A minor, because I wrote it. So applying what we just talked about, I would have to end the previous section on some kind of E chord, because E is the fifth of A. So I'm thinking, why not double down on this just to make my point? Why not start on B, then go to E, because once again, B is the fifth of E. And then from there, go to our weird nightmare section. Let's just go for it and see what happens. Let's write a simple rock demonstration. I think it works. So, my advice to you, if you have a section you really like but can't seem to find room for, try to write something that ends on a chord that is the fifth of the chord that your section begins on. It's simple, yes, but it works really well. And for my final tip, you actually don't need that many chords. Instead of worrying too much about chord changes, you can create dynamics by changing timbres or playing around with voicings, by changing the feel between sections, even if the notes remain pretty much the same. To demonstrate this, I wrote a simple instrumental where the bulk of it is just comprised of two chords, D minor and B flat major. I included extra chords for the chorus, but otherwise that's pretty much it. And I wrote it as an instrumental because I had singing in mind, so it's a little bare bones like this, but you'll get the point anyway. And the point is basically this. If you have an idea you really love, but struggle to turn it into a complete song, maybe keep the chords, but change up the instrumentation, or the voicing of the chords, or get some new sounds in there. This can easily give the impression of more things happening, even though that's not necessarily true. Anyway, thank you for watching, and please let me know if you enjoyed this video, because personally I feel like I barely scratched the surface of this stuff, and I was unsure of how much depth to go into with each example and how much to demonstrate, how much to explain versus keeping it simple and keeping it moving a bit faster. Was it too much music in this one? Not enough talking? Not enough depth? Not enough explaining, showing? Yeah, I didn't know where to really put the bar for that, so I'd appreciate any feedback. Do you want more detail next time, or more theory, less music, more talking, all that kind of stuff? Just let me know. And as always, have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Bye bye.